Welcome to the Live Shoot Podcast. My name is Jeff Dowdle, and I've been a licensed firearms dealer for the last 18 years. In this podcast, we talk about all things related to the Second Amendment, as well as anything else going in the world of sports story or anything else I might find interesting. So, yes, this is the podcast where we cut through the noise, stand up for our God-given rights, and talk about what keeps us free, the Second Amendment. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's got a lot of people buzzing. We mentioned it last week, but that's a 6-hour P320 and the safety concerns that have been going on. We're going to talk about, the background of the gun, military contracts, report issues, how law enforcement and military are responding, and what 6 Hour has to say. So let's get started. So the P320, released in 2014 by Sig. It's a striker-fired modular handgun. It hit the market with a lot of popularity. Over 2.5 million units have been sold. But the P320 started making waves in 2017 when it won the U.S. Army's modular handgun system competition, beating out Glock and others for a $580 million contract. The Army adopted the two versions, the M17, which is full-size, and the compact M18. And these became the standard firearms across all branches of the U.S. military. From military police to pilots, you'll see these pistols on belts and chest rigs across the world. Law enforcement jumped on board too, with over thousands of agencies that started to use issuing P320s to their officers. But this is when things start to get sticky. Since its release, reports have surfaced about the P320 discharging without trigger pull, something nobody wants to have happen. The safety concerns started gaining traction around 2017, right after the military contract was announced. A U.S. Department of Defense report from the year noted that during testing, the P320 could fire if dropped at certain angles. And that can be a problem if it's your duty weapons. A 6 Hour responded quickly, modifying the trigger mechanism and offering, a voluntary upgrade to civilian owners. They claim the issue was fixed, but the reports kept coming in. A 2020 investigation documented over 80 injuries from the alleged uncommanded discharge, and court cases started piling up. Over 100 lawsuits alleging that the P320 design is defective, particularly because it lacks external safety like some other striker-fired pistols such as Glock. In July 2025, a jury ruled against SIG and awarded them $2.35 million to a plaintiff whose P320 fired while unholstered, citing a defect. Then in November, a Philadelphia jury hit SIG with an $11 million verdict for an Army veteran injured when his P320 went off in his jacket. So how has law enforcement been responding? Well, it's been a mixed bag. Several police departments have pulled the P320 from service. We're talking big names like Milwaukee, Dallas, the transit police in Philly, and agencies in Alabama, Connecticut, Florida, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin. On the federal side, things got heated in July 2025 when ICE issued a memo banning the P320 and ordering a switch to the Glock 19. This came after a 2020 ICE report noted a spike in unintentional discharge after adopting the P320 with 12 incidents and 7 injuries in just 18 months. The U.S. Army's Global Strike Force also halted use of the M18, citing safety concerns after a tragic incident when on a F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming, where an airman, Braden Lovin, lost his life when a P320 discharged. The Air Force is now inspecting their entire M18 arsenal. The Army, who spearheaded the P320, though, isn't budging. Despite the 2024 FBI Research Facility report that just started becoming public, raising concerns that the M18 Striker's safety lock and sear wear, the Army says they're standing by their pistols. They argue the FBI's findings couldn't be consistently reproduced in following up tests with SIG. Meanwhile, the Michigan State Police, after initially raising concerns, have resumed issuing their P320s after testing showed no incidents. So the split, response tells me one thing. There's a trust issue. Some agencies are jumping ship, others are doubling down. For me, this type of inconsistency isn't good. Now, what's SIG say? Well, they've been pretty vocal. They're not backing down. Their stance, the P320 is safe. Period. They say it cannot, under any circumstance, discharge without a trigger pull. They pointed to rigorous testing by the U.S. military, federal and state law enforcement, and independent labs, all of which they claim proved the P320's reliability. SIG's even released videos breaking down the pistol's safety features, like the trigger safety mechanism and the prevent discharge unless, the trigger is deliberately pulled. They argue that many reported incidents are due to user error, improper holstering, snagging on gear, failure to follow proper safe handling procedures. SIG's also quick to note that the unintentional discharge happen with all firearms, not just P320. So now they're throwing everybody under the bus, right? They've had legal wins. 12 federal lawsuits claiming the P320 can fire without a trigger pull have been dismissed, including one by a unanimous 8-person jury. But this is where I get skeptic. SIG's pushing, hard on the user error angle, and while I agree there's training and discipline are critical, the volume of accidents, especially with trained professionals, seems to suggest that there's more to it. The FBI report obtained by Shooting Influence pointed to specific issues like an unseated striker safety lock spring and warmed serrages. That's technical stuff, but it could explain why some guns might fire under stress, like when an officer's running or drawing from the holster. SIG said they've worked with the FBI and Michigan State Police and are following up tests showing no problems. So where does that leave SIG? Well, the P320 is innovative and it's trusted by thousands. But these safety concerns, in my opinion, cannot be ignored. SIG's got a responsibility to keep pushing transparency, releasing all the testing data, not just the highlights. They need to prioritize training with the agencies and the safe handling, and continue to be accountable. The controversy is far over, but one thing's clear: our freedom to bear arms comes with the responsibility to demand the best from those. To me, I wouldn't be buying a P320 right now. I know people love it. People have tons of them. Sit back, because one of the most important things about a gun for me is that when you pull the trigger, it goes bang, and when you don't pull the trigger, it doesn't go bang. Those are the two main things. You can talk about external safeties and all that, but your number one safety is your trigger, your finger, and if it can fire without using that, those are concerns. So we're going to keep watching. SIG's not backing down, but the story's not going away either. So if you haven't subscribed to this podcast, send me a message. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of your P320. Love to hear about it. And if not, have a safe shooting and have a great weekend.